All right, everybody. This is Toni Weel, and I think we are live. I sure hope we are live. So please, in the chat, let me know if you're live, if you can hear me, because then I know that we did the right thing. Well, I don't All see right, everybody. This is Toni Weel, and I think we got.
Yeah, there is the echo of that too. So maybe see about hitting the mute on the YouTube.
Yeah, and there is none right now. It is muted.
Okay.
Actually. So I don't know why I don't hear it now, and I did hear it before, but I see fruit juice. It says hi, Toni. So somebody can hear me, which is a good thing. But I see we have less viewers now. Well, we just go for it and see how things are going. This is our first time. I'm doing this together with Virtuous Unicorns. Without her, I could not have gotten to this point. She has been so helpful. So let me tell a little bit about myself. I am a detox specialist, actually a regenerative detox specialist. I'm so trained and certified by Dr. Morse, and you will hear more about him. I'm also trained as an iridologist, but I feel that I still have a lot to learn in that field. I'm certified in essential oils, nutrition, and but the only thing actually that is important is what I learned from Dr. Morse. And we have with us Virtuous Unicorns. I absolutely, totally love that name. So she's going to tell a little bit about her and why she is doing what she is doing, and also the name unicorns, because I'm curious. I love unicorns since I was a little kid, and even have a tiny one tattooed on my shoulder. Actually, I don't tell anybody to do that because it's not the healthiest thing to do, but that was before I knew better. So please introduce yourself.
Well, thank you, Toni, for that introduction, and I'm so happy to be here. Virtuous Unicorns, my mom and I started this. My name is Sarah. My mom's name is Barb, and we started this to try to help people get back on the path of where we believe we should be, and that's making virtuous decisions, eating clean, and as Dr. Morse says, getting our way back on to Wellville. We're here to help in any way that we can, such as helping with Toni and maybe asking some questions other people are asking, and just trying to help spread the word out there to get us back to being the unicorns that we are supposed to be, the ones that hold the light here on earth, and we need to shine as bright as we can. So we are looking to get back onto that path.
That sounds great. I love it. We're doing our best, and it's all about learning what is the way to really heal ourselves. How can we empower people to learn the truth, about all the figure out what we have been lied about, especially with foods, and get healthy again. And it may be a long journey because it took quite a few years to get where we are as with our health, which is usually not that great, and get back on track. And I see the positive results every day with people. Now, I put out a message on Telegram, and I got quite a few responses right away that from people who did not send me an email, and I wrote a few down. And one was from Gary about obesity. And I would like to answer that because that is what I have been struggled with my whole life. And that started as a young teenager. And it was always up and down, and up again, and always a little bit more. I tried pretty much, every which way I was told to go to lose the weight, from almost starving myself and actually being underfed and still not losing the weight. And I've been vegan, vegetarian. I followed the Atkins diet, quite the opposite of being a vegan. And always losing the weight, and always it got back, and never understanding why. Until I actually found Dr. Morse. But as a little story before that is that I was vegan and actually a raw vegan, but I was still eating nuts and seeds and fats, high fats. I mean, nuts and seeds have high fats, and I could make the absolute most delicious crackers in the what is it, the dehydrator, and then with avocado or with nut butters, delicious. And I was gaining weight and feeling bad and having so much pain in my body. When I met Dr. Morse, it was like, stop all the proteins and the fats. And when I did, the weight was just flying off. And I didn't even, it wasn't for the weight loss. It was, I wanted to be healthy and have less pain because I have pretty severe arthritis. So that is what you can do when you are obese. It's like, you have to start on a detox regimen, and it sounds pretty bad when you hear it that way, but it can actually be fun. It's like leaving out, the meat, dairy, eggs, then the beans, the grains, and you go on more and more fruits. And once you see that you leave out the fats and the proteins, it will just happen. But when you are obese, you usually have more health problems than just your weight. So that is where I suggest, and I put it in the show notes, if you want to, discuss this personally with me, and that goes for everybody here. If you have certain things that you would rather not discuss here, but in person with me, you can always set up a session and fill out a health questionnaire, and then we go over it together, and I can explain everything. So that was the part about obesity. And Gary, I hope to hear from you someday. Another question was from Aaron. It was about fruit diets 101, what to eat during the day and have a sample menu for energy. The interesting part is that when you are on all fruit, you have energy. However, if you add a cooked meal, or anything that has, usually it's a cooked meal, but it's also when you add a meal that has high fats, and here we come with the avocados and the nuts again, you will see that you have less energy. Because like cooked food is like that food, it doesn't really give you energy. For me, it is even a simple meal like a soup from greens, all greens. You would think, how can it harm you? After that, I'm thirsty, I'm tired. And I found out that the cooked foods are actually dehydrating. So it's not helping with energy. And we all know that, once you had they say when you have a big meal, you have to rest. Yeah, you do. But if I eat a big bowl with fruit, I don't have that same feeling, because it definitely does give me energy. So how is your experience with that, Sarah?
I definitely have a lot more energy when I'm just on all fruit, especially during the summer, as we spoke earlier, when we did all orange juice. I didn't really even have an appetite anymore. The orange juice was very filling. I was sleeping well. And I felt light just overall, like I did have lots of energy.
Yeah, that is, I found that pretty amazing, that whole energy part, and that you are actually less hungry. And that is something that is every time that I fall back on eating cooked foods now and then, I realize that as soon as I eat a cooked meal, I want more. I'm hungry. I want to eat more of it. When I'm on all fruit, I can have a big bowl of grapes here sitting next to me in the office, next to the computer. I grab a few and I'm fine. I don't even think about meals. It's this late and I'm hungry. I want to eat. You're not hungry anymore, and still have the energy to get through the day.
That's right. Now, is it because it's hydrating us, though?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
One more question on the fruit, though. What you were just saying is that because it's hydrating us more on a cellular level, maybe, or something deeper than what water would do for us?
Yeah, because what I learned from Dr. Morse is that water doesn't hydrate on a cellular level, and fruit does. And I found whatever cooked meal it is, it doesn't matter what it is, even if it's a soup, you know, which we would say that's a lot of water, it's still dehydrating.
Great.
The next question was from Helen, is how to transition. I think about the last year, I've had that question so many times, so I really have to put that on paper. And it's like, you know, how do you do this? It's easy for me to say, you know, you just start eliminating the meat, the dairy, the eggs, the grains, the beans, the cooked food, the fermented food, the oils, the fats, and then, you know, you transition. And actually there is work to do. It's not, if I make a guideline as in how you have to do it, it may not really fit in your lifestyle. It all depends how is your life and what can you do. But I would think like in the first week or 2 weeks, you start leaving out the meat, and you have to realize that this is not a temporary detox. This is a lifestyle change. Because if you do this, like what you see a lot of these programs, you know, 3-day detox or a week or 30 days or 90 days. And then you think, okay, I'm good to go. I detoxed and now I go back to what I was doing before. Then the problems will start, because that is not how it works. It is when you start transitioning to a, well, let's call it an all raw and mostly fruit way of living, that is your lifestyle. You're not going back to eating meat again, because that's the stuff that made you sick. That is the stuff that where you got all the symptoms from, the high proteins, the high fats, and it's not working. I mean, we can see that you know, with all the so-called diseases that we have, and it's always adding to all the acidity in the body. So what we want to get through eventually is through the mucus-less foods. And I do have a PDF, and I will put that further in the show notes. I forgot to do that. And when you follow that, and it's not put together by me, it's actually put together by Dr. Erit, and Professor Spira worked on it. And I used it, actually, their work, to modify it to a way that it shows what can you eat during a detox and what can you eat, all the foods that you can eat while you're transitioning and after the detox as a lifestyle. And you can also use it when you are, for instance, you have family over for dinner, or you go out with friends or family to eat somewhere. Then, you know, when you learn what you can eat as a transition food, you can pick something like that, or, you know, the salads. So salads are always good. Just don't add the apple cider vinegar, because that's fermented, or the oils. But, you know, with that, you're always good to go. Now, there was a question about recipes for transition. And yeah, I do have recipes. But I think we need to get away from that whole idea. You know, we have lunch, we have breakfast, lunch, and then dinner. And we need to eat certain things then to get the calories, because calories is always a big question. But we don't. You know, you can replace it with more fruit. You know, start your day with a huge glass of orange juice, and have now we have beautiful kiwis here, and we have kiwis ready. And so just replace your cooked meals with more fruit or raw meals. And yeah, I know it's easy for me to say you don't need a recipe for that, but you actually find that you don't. You know, you can make delicious smoothies with you know, you do 1 or 2 fruits, and I use coconut water in it. You can use a date in it. You can add a banana if you want some more sweetness, or you want it a little thicker. And I sometimes use coconut water, which is always good. And that could be something that you eat in the afternoon. It starts all with slowly leaving out the foods that are not helping your health. So do the first weeks, you do the meat, and the second or the next 2 weeks, you leave out all the dairy. And yes, that includes cheese. And I come from the Netherlands, so I was a cheese eater big time. Haven't had it now for 5 years, and it's not helping you health, and it's actually very addictive. I know all about that. That was not an easy thing to do. And then a few weeks later, you leave out all the eggs, and then you start, there's no more cooked foods. But do it slowly. Don't do it like, okay, from tomorrow, I'm only going to eat fruit, because that is when your whole body gets upset and you can get all kinds of detox symptoms. Now, I had enough pain in my life that I decided I'm going to do a slow transition. I don't need to add more problems to what I already have. And it works. And it worked for a lot of the people, everybody that I work with, say, take it slow. Because when you would start like, these 30-day juices that seem to be very popular, and especially in this time, and I would not start a juice fast or feast in the wintertime, because I feel that spring would be a way better. Spring is a cleansing time, and use the winter time to transition to that juice. So you start from the cooked meals where you start leaving out more and more, and then you go to the all raw foods, and from the all raw you go to more fruit, and then you go to the fruit juices. So take the winter months to get there, and then you don't need to worry about the cold season and, oh my gosh, what can I eat? I mean, enjoy your hot soups, but try to leave out the foods that are absolutely not helping your health. Is that making sense to you, Sarah?
Absolutely, it is. And in my journey, I mean, I'm nowhere near 100% still, but it was, if I was, let's just go to the worst case scenario, somebody that was eating bacon and eggs in the morning. Well, before my bacon and eggs, I would have a large bowl of fruit and then see how long the fruit would satiate me. And then you may not want that bacon and eggs anymore after that. Or as you start cleansing your palate, at least for me, everything started changing to where I just didn't want it anymore, is what it really was. And my body started craving the fruit and the fruit juices and smoothies. Or if you're somebody that likes to have a very large, like meat and potato dinner, before the meat and potato dinner, have either a smoothie, a juice, another bowl of fruit, or even a salad, and then try to eat that meal still. You may find you're only eating half, a quarter of it or whatnot. And then eventually you just don't want it anymore.
Yeah, that's a good tip, actually. It's the same as when you are used to drinking coffee in the morning, something very stimulating. And that aligns with a question I have here by Martine about matcha tea with coconut milk. Matcha is actually too stimulating, and it's high caffeine. Just like the coffee. But if you eat fruit or you drink a big glass of fresh orange juice, then you don't want the coffee anymore, because the coffee really tastes bad after that. Mm-hmm. And even I experienced it with coffee, and I was a coffee drinker. I mean, the stronger the better, like the triple or double that even espressos. And I drank that for a long time, not too often in a day, but at least once a day, but it was strong. And when I stopped drinking it, I got the most severe headaches. But I was prepared. I knew that was going to happen. And I had to go through those withdrawal symptoms for about a week, and then it was over, and then never had coffee again. Don't like the smell anymore. And yeah.
I'm still on board with the smell. Like, I still think it smells good. But yeah, now if I actually drink coffee, I do get a headache. And I even tried to go for, like, I bought the organic, I ground it myself, I cold brewed it, oat milk, and even use maple syrup instead of sugar. And so I figured like, okay, if I'm going to drink this, I'm going to make it as best as I can, at least what I was thinking then. But now I don't even, I've had a sip of coffee here and there, and your palate gets cleansed and you just don't want it anymore eventually.
Yeah, it's not in my life. It's like I have not the slightest desire actually to get coffee. But tea I do like, and I had I had so much matcha tea. I probably still do somewhere hidden in the cabinets, like in the cupboards, all this matcha tea. And I was like, no, let's not. Let's just stick with fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Martine also told me she has three little children, 4, 6, and 8. And she said they would eat only fruit if they could. And it's like, well, that tells you something, go for it. This is absolutely great. They want to eat fruit, then never, force them to eat anything else. Now, you mentioned that you eat a raw salad with apple cider vinegar. I would replace that with lemon, because apple cider vinegar is fermented, and we actually want to stop all that fermentation in our body, and it just makes it worse. No matter what they have, what they told you, apple cider vinegar is not a health food. And neither is cold pressed olive oil or avocado oil. I'm always amazed by the avocado oil, and I have used it. Because if I look at an avocado, I'm like, okay, how do I get the oils out of that? And it's very creamy when you use it in dishes. So I really like avocados, but with avocados, it is extremely high fats. And when I eat it, it's always a step back in my health. So I know I should not eat it because it's not helping. It makes me gain weight. It makes me have the arthritis pain again. So, and the other thing is, avocados don't grow in the wild. And up to 100, 150 years ago, there were no avocados, not the way you see it now. So I'm not so sure what has been done with these things. And it seems that most people don't like to even eat them without salt and pepper or something on it, or use it in a dish so that you get the creaminess. But yeah, very few people eat it as it is. And I feel that everything that needs spices is not really meant as food for us. I get more and more to, yeah, it's always fruit. Then Gloria asked me, can you tell us about eating eggs? I've read so many conflicting opinions. And yeah, I've heard a lot of things. If you want to eat eggs, you have to eat them raw. I did it all. I put them in smoothies, and because eating a raw egg, other than that, it's just I always call it snot. It's disgusting, but it's okay if you put it in a smoothie. And then I learned that it's actually very high protein. It's also an animal product. It is difficult to digest, and it actually creates excess waste. And on top of that, it makes your body smell. When you, and that this is very interesting, when you are on all fruit, your sweat does not smell at all. Not at all. And so then there is no need for all these body lotions and deodorants, and it just, leave out the high protein foods. And it will be great for your teeth also, because, and you just did a podcast with Charlie Freak about that. I haven't listened to it yet, but I'm sure you know about what the high proteins can do on your teeth. That is why you have to keep brushing them. And when you are on all fruit, there's not even a toothbrush is not necessary. Your teeth stay clean.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty amazing.
The protein kills our teeth, and that is the one thing that we did talk about. And it's not so much the protein, it's what the protein converts to, which is acidosis, and that's what kind of comes in and kills your teeth. Whereas the fruit just makes your teeth strong and last forever. There is one more other thing I wanted to say about the eggs. And from my background, in laboratories, they feed viruses eggs. So the viruses they're trying to grow in the laboratories or whatnot are fed eggs, at least in some of the ones that I've been part of, those studies. And so if you really think about it, viruses are used to eating eggs. And so they're kind of like drawn to that type of stuff. And so, I mean, eggs are just, I don't think they're good all around. And the people that feed their chickens their eggs again, I don't agree with that either. If anything, I think the eggs can just be thrown like into the garden and mixed into the soil. I don't know what your opinion is on that, but eggs are an absolute no-go, I believe.
Exactly, and that's with the viruses and the eggs. I had heard that too. That I was this morning, I was listening to Dr. Morse, and it's like, oh God, what does he say about eggs? So that was what I just mentioned. And Tracy asked, can you suggest any type of book or something that I can have on hand to refer to what I should be eating and not be eating? Well, that is actually the mucusless foods list. So I will definitely put that in the show notes because it is the most easy thing for you to use. And the nice thing is that list that shows you what is mucus forming, like what does meat, how mucus forming is it, what is eggs, and even nuts, how mucus forming they can be. And I still have a thing with nuts. We know that nuts, you know, especially when they're roasted, they are pretty delicious and salted, of course. And when I started to eat them raw, and I was like, okay, now you really taste what the nuts are. But then I start reading more about it, and you think you're buying raw nuts. No, they're not. They're never completely raw. And I have this big walnut tree next to my house. I was like, well, I'm kind of curious as in what's really in it and how do they, because we really don't know how they fall from a tree and when you can use them when they are ripe. I could not open it. I needed a hammer to even got those open. And then I found out it's a black walnut and you're not supposed to use the walnuts. It's grown in the United States for its wood. So I have all these black walnuts and they're not usable. But for me, it was like, now with the nuts, it's like, no, and don't eat it. It's not, you can't eat it as it is, and you can always come back to the fruits, which is what you can eat right away. Tracy also asked, are there any dairy products that are okay? I try to buy more goat cheese or lamb cheese than cows. I also drink almond milk instead of cow's milk. No, there are no dairy products that are okay. It doesn't matter if it comes from a goat. Lamb cheese. Okay, I understand goat cheese because that comes from milk, but it is still mucus forming. So you just want to leave out anything that comes from an animal. Is almond milk okay? Well, then you come back to, you know, what are almonds? It's a lot of nuts. If I was, and I did that, you know, years ago, I made my own almond milk. I soaked, probably about at least 2 cups of almonds. And then I soaked them overnight in water and the next day in the blender, and then they go through a nut bag and you get all the milk out. How much milk do you get out? Well, it's about, if you put in 4 cups or maybe a liter, I don't know, or a quart, I think it's what it's called here, then that's easy to drink. That means that you actually ate then 2 cups of almonds, and I don't think that's a good idea. So to me, it's like with the nuts, if you're not detoxing and you want to eat a few nuts, and that with a few nuts, I don't mean, you know, more than a handful. A few nuts is like, you know, 4 or 5 nuts, that would be it. And if you're not detoxing, sure, see how your body responds to it and keep an eye on that. And what Tracy also mentioned is she lives in a cold area and enjoys a hot meal, especially at dinner. And she said she needs really help with the hot meals on this special diet. I don't like the word diet, especially not since it has the word die in it. And I see it as a lifestyle. I would say during the winter, enjoy your hot meals, but just be aware what to eat and what not to eat. Don't make it potatoes or, the white potatoes, the mashed potatoes, the fries. The potatoes are used in the glue industry. So just imagine what it does in your body. You don't really want to have that in your body. So potatoes would be a no. And, a nice vegetable soup, sure, just go for it. When you use the mucusless list of foods, you will see what you can't eat. But, make it a once in a while and try to eat more salads and eat more fruits and drink a hot cup of tea, for instance. And there's another thing, and there was actually Justin made me aware of that, is that when you want to have a warm meal, I'm not going to say hot because it's not going to be hot. I actually used to make cold soups, and like with zucchinis and lettuce and tomatoes, and put them all in a blender and add some, the Italian herbs and maybe a little spices, some cayenne or curry, and some dulse to get a little salty taste. And I put it in a blender, and I'm too lazy to spend an hour on chewing a salad, so I put it in a blender. But you can actually warm that up, and I suggest not to do it in the blender because it puts a lot of air in it and it doesn't even taste good then. But put it in a pan on low heat, and he said stir it with your finger, and then you feel when it's warm enough, and there you go, you have your warm meal, and still raw. As long as you don't heat it, over 108, I think, 108 degrees Fahrenheit, you have a warm meal. And I have been getting pretty creative with my dehydrator. Absolutely love the dehydrator. And you can make zucchini bread in it. And now we get to the recipes actually. And but then you have to make them the night before, so overnight they would be in the dehydrator, and the next morning you have a day, depends on when you want to eat that, you have something warm. So you can eat raw and still have your warm foods. But on the other hand, I was like, use the winter time for transitioning to a different lifestyle. And I think that would actually be the best way to do it. So Tracy, I hope that's going to work for you. And my email is in the show notes, so you can always reach me. And this comes to from Catherine, and she asks, is it okay to add vegetables to a fruit smoothie, like raw spinach, for example? I've done it, did it all, and it's a big no. The thing is, they have fruit and veggies have a totally different digestion time. So when you do that, it starts creating fermenting in your guts, and you try to not have that, to prevent that. So just stick with the all fruit, or you make a green smoothie, and you do all the variety of greens. It can be kale. I wouldn't do. It's pretty tough on your digestive system. But there are a lot of other greens, and even some of the lettuces. I've done that. And you can add lemon, and actually an apple is okay too. Now, I should know why you can add an apple and not any of the other fruits, but I have to admit, I'm embarrassed. I forgot. So I cannot answer that one, but I can look it up for the next time. Do you have anything to add or suggestions to that, Sarah?
I do not know that off the top of my head either, but going back just a little bit, I got sidetracked by this message that was on here too in the chat, but hot lemon water, how do you feel about that for when people are talking about just the cold?
Yeah, I think it is pretty delicious. It's like, with a tea, it's an herbal tea that is hot. And every morning I make my 1 liter of lemon water. And before I put the lemon in, I start cold water and then add some hot water to make it a warm drink. But I sip this throughout the day. But if you want to do like a cup of warmer water, and you have to be careful that you don't kill the enzymes.
True.
And when you have boiling water on it, you do. So I stick with the warm water.
Okay, great. And just as a little side trick, what I do is I go and I try to buy in bulk when I can. And so if I do buy in bulk my lemons, I will take them, cut them in half, and then juice them and put them in an ice tray and freeze them into ice cubes. It does say that they're good up to, I think, 60 days that way. But then that way I don't have a bunch of lemons going bad. Now, I don't know, and I'm not sure if you do either, Toni, how does it change if you freeze them? Is that okay?
It is okay. I mean, we do use frozen fruits. I always figured the advantage of the frozen fruits is actually it's picked riper than what you find in the stores because they freeze it right after.
Sure.
And they have more taste because, well, we all know what we find in the grocery stores, that fruit often doesn't have a taste at all.
Yeah.
And because they were picked unripe. If you would do that with the frozen fruit, nobody would use it anymore. So it has more taste, although I have to admit lately it's been getting less and less. And even though I buy the fruit, it's all organic. I buy it from good sources, and it comes actually from the north, and it's a company. I think it's called Wild Foods, but they sell a lot of meat and or fish especially, but they have the most amazing frozen fruits. So yeah, to me, frozen fruits are okay. So your frozen lemon, that's a good idea. It's only, you don't want to put it, pour it in a glass and then pour boiled water on it. I wouldn't do that.
Okay.
And I saw a question is like, do you use the whole orange? No, I don't. It's like, to me, that if you use the peels of an orange, that's so bitter. It's like I have this really cheap citrus juicer, and it's fast, it's easy to clean. So that's all that I use. And it takes me 15 minutes to make, well, maybe not 15, 10 minutes to juice probably 10 oranges and a grapefruit and a lemon. And there I have my liter.
Yep.
And that cuts me through, big part of the day, actually. There's a question from Nancy. Are vitamin mineral supplements necessary at all? Vitamin D, zinc, any of them? Well, that's a big no. It is a huge industry. It's really, really big. I mean, maybe not as big as the pharmaceutical industry, but they're getting there. And no, it's not helping. It's actually hurting us. It's not only hurting our wallet, because I used to spend at least, $500 easily in a month. I was thinking, that the vitamins and the minerals was even more important than eating. And it was doing me so much good. And when I learned from Dr. Morse, it's like, no, you don't need them. Your body knows what to do. And when you think of it, when you think back and think about how did humanity get to where we are today without all these vitamins and supplements, and it's like, why do we even still exist? I mean, 50 or 100 years ago, we didn't have them. People were still thriving without them. So no, we don't need them. They are actually more hurting our bodies. And we will find the vitamins and the minerals in the fruits and in the veggies. And right now there is a big craze about fulvic acid, and I've gotten some weird responses to my view about it. It is plant food. It is not and will not ever be people food. Now it is plant food, and yes, then you eat the plant, the herbs, the greens. So no, it's like with vitamin D. Why do we even think that we can, that a capsule of vitamin D can help us? Vitamin D is the sun. The sun is not in a capsule. Now, the interesting part is there is a vitamin, and it's called vitamin D2, is actually can be derived from mushrooms. And I was thinking that was so funny because mushrooms they grow in the dark. How the heck can they have vitamin D? I haven't figured that one out yet, but I thought it was funny. And but when you get on an all raw and mostly fruit diet, you will see the difference. And I hear a lot of stories about people saying that, oh, they got all these deficiencies. Deficiencies don't exist. I have actually a really nice article about it. So anyone who wants to read that one, I will email it to you. And there's a lot to it, and we know we've been lied about pretty much everything. So that's one of them. Is it best to eat mono fruits in a meal? It is, but I can see where it's kind of delicious to have a variety of fruits or have several fruits in a smoothie. But if you ask me what is best, then yes, mono meal is best. I don't know if you probably have noticed that yourself. And when you smell a fruit, you just the saliva in your mouth is already starting to prepare for eating that fruit. Now, if you put a whole bunch of fruits together, it's getting a little bit confusing. And I feel that the digestion is not as good as when you would eat a mono fruit. It's more, I think it's like more healing. And Nancy also asked that she's eating less since transitioning to mostly fruit. I don't get hungry like I used to. Should I be concerned about eating enough calories? And that's another fact, the whole calorie thing. It's false. It makes no sense. And let's just completely, totally forget about the whole calories. You eat when you're hungry, and you stop when you are satisfied, not when you're full. When you're full, when you have the full feeling, then you just ate one banana too many. So you don't want to do that. And Nancy also asked about the truth about protein. Oh my gosh. And on my channel, which is ToniWeel.com/videos, that's the easiest way to get there. I made it a forward to YouTube. I have 2 videos by Dr. Morse saying, well, what it comes to it as proteins equals death. And it is very, very hard on the kidneys. That is why we all of us have kidney issues. And I have already kidney issues since I was in my teens. So it is, it is not good. Now, she mentioned something about Wikipedia. I think we all know about what Wikipedia is, and it's not about telling the truth. So Wikipedia says that eating predominantly fruits is an incredible extreme diet and not recommended by many dietitians and nutritionists. Now, as a dietitian, as a registered dietitian and nutritionist, you have to go by the federal guideline. A dietitian or nutrition can get in big trouble telling people you should eat fruit to be healthy, because those are not the federal guidelines. So it goes on in this Wikipedia part. Fruitarians often have low levels of vitamin B12, calcium, vitamin D, iodine, and omega-3 fatty acids. Now, when I was a child, I did not hear anything about omega-3 fatty acids. So that's another made-up thing. And that it all can lead to anemia, fatigue, and a weak immune system. Well, it's total nonsense. It's quite the opposite. It strengthens the immune system. So it is like knowing what Wikipedia is about. They are not about the truth, and you can put anything and everything there. But yeah, people go there to find out, you know, how is it? How does it work? I think the more that we learn about what eating the fruit does to our body and experience it ourselves, I think that is the most important part. See how you do on it. And when we see people healing, Dr. Morse always mentions that he had a client with a toe that was pretty much, well, half gone, and they were going to take it off. This gentleman went on a all fruit, and I think it was all grapes. And over a few months, that whole toe came back. That is what it can do. For me, it got me out of a wheelchair and walking again. But as soon as I start eating what I should not eat, and I don't eat any fruits, I'm back in pain. So, you know, it's so easy now for me to see what the wrong foods does to us, and how my immune system actually got so much better. 9 years ago, I twisted my leg and I broke the femur just under the hip ball. So they had to cut that off and put metal in it. So I was like, oh my gosh, since then I was so afraid to call because that was a horrendous experience. And then I got to day before yesterday, I tripped. And I always feel that everything is for a reason. So me tripping and falling hard on both knees, I had to learn some kind of a lesson. I'm not quite sure exactly what the lesson is, but I didn't break anything. Yeah, my knee hurts bad, but it's already getting better. And it's only, you know, a day and a half ago. So I can see now with all the fruits, my body is actually healing much faster. I have no bruises, and we just heal faster. I mean, it's totally amazing. And everybody who is on fruit and can attest to that. So no weak immune system, and anemia. Well, I think when vegans, and it is specifically vegans, not fruitarians, have issues because they're still eating junk food. They still have the nuts, the seeds, the oils, the fats. And so I think that is often where there is a problem, not with the people who eat, well, I should say quality fruit, and sometimes it's not quite the case. So we have to do our best. If it is only quality apples that we can eat, and we eat quality apples. And when other fruits are in season, we just get the best that we can.
Toni, I have two things I'd like to input, if you don't mind. The toe, the guy that Dr. Morse was working with the toe, if I remember correctly, he was also a diabetic. So not only is he healing his toe, but he's also working in the process of healing his kidneys and whatnot and his whole body.
Absolutely. And that is that was actually, I had mandatory, here we go, vaccinations for immigration from the Netherlands to the US. And that was polio, and I think it was the MMR, and another one. And since after that, I got diabetes, I got psoriasis, I got arthritis, and the diabetes, that was like, well, you know, I know what to do, and no sugar, and I never ate sugar, not knowing it was not the sugar the problem. It was the fats in your food that was the problem. So yeah, I was a diabetic, and sometimes it was over 300 and 400, and I had this odd feeling inside, like a jittery feeling inside, so not feeling good, and getting neuropathy on top of that. And I just couldn't get it down. And when I was on 100% fruit, my whole diabetes was gone. It's on an average, it's in the 80s. But if I eat avocados, and here are the avocados again, because I absolutely love guacamole. I can't help it. So yeah, it happens that I eat that once in a while, and it's my sugar level goes right up. So we know that it is the fats, and you don't combine that with the fruits. It's just a big no-no.
Yep. And my next question was the B12 from that lady's other question for the vitamins. Is B12 on tree bark? Like, can we just go out and touch the trees and get our B12 that way?
I cannot answer that. I really don't know. But now you make me think of something, and that is actually how many how we have this special feeling with hugging a tree. Why would that be?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there is something special with that. Hugging a tree, it's amazing.
It is. And I know a lot of people like look at it as like something weird, but I mean, it is true. I mean,
it is.
They're alive, and it is something about that.
Yeah, so you may be right. Maybe this is part of part of the healing. It's the same as with looking in the sun in a certain way and at a certain time. And it's also healing. I since I've been on all fruit, I stopped eating sunglasses. And I have these beautiful sunglasses that I love to wear. Prescription sunglasses. I haven't needed them since I was on all fruit.
Yeah. And you live in the sunny state.
Yeah, I don't need it anymore.
That's wonderful.
Now Cindy, oh no, it's not Cindy. This is who is this? Brutus. Oh no, it is Cindy. See, I saw it right. Cindy in Apple Valley. It is like, okay, she likes to move over to this kind of eating so it will not create havoc to my body. So how slowly introduce this to my lifestyle? We already, spoke about that. And so I will put the mucusless PDF in the show notes so you can get that. Now, what surprises me, I mean, in the United States, you would think that no matter where you live, if it's Florida or Minnesota, Walmart and all the other stores, they can all get the same fruits. Why would there be a difference in Florida? I mean, I rarely see Florida fruits in the stores. So I would think that everything should just be as available in the north as it is in the south. But maybe people eat less fruits than in the north because they think, I don't know.
Yeah.
But you can work around it with using frozen fruits. You just get what you can. I mean, it is apple season right now. So come up with all kinds of different things to do with your apples, from smoothies to apple sauces with some cinnamon, maybe warm it up a little and put lemon in it. So there are a lot of things that you can do, but you just get what you can get and not worry about the rest. Yeah. Then we have from Georgian, a question about a gene called JAK2 that contributes to a blood disease. And she actually mentioned that she started to use Lourdes hydrogen water, and and she mentioned Santos on his channel. On episode 26, he is talking about that, and her blood count was normal after that. That is absolutely, totally amazing. I love it. Does it come through the diet, from the diet or from the water? I don't know. Maybe it did. If it works for you, then it works for you. That is, and it will work for other people. The thing is that I would not think that all you need to do to be healthy is drink a certain water or eat a certain fruit alone, and then keep your diet as it was. You don't want to do that. You want to transition to a fruit diet anyway. But I haven't seen the video yet, but I definitely will. So that was the YouTube channel Syncretism Society episode 26. It's I'm sure it's very interesting. Okay. We only have 5 minutes left. Time flies when you have fun.
Absolutely.
It is about blood pressure, and the question is if you can regulate your blood pressure on an all raw and mostly fruit lifestyle. Well, absolutely. And he was told to take actually 2 different pharmaceuticals and not eat grapefruit because with the medication, the blood pressure could get too low. Now, isn't that a crazy statement from the pharmaceutical or medical industry?
Mm-hmm.
They had the same thing with Coumadin. With Coumadin, you cannot use any fruits that would thin the blood. And I'm like, okay, how much sense does that make? Why not eating then the blood thinning fruits or veggies instead of the pharmaceuticals? But that's not how the medical industry works. So yes, absolutely, you can get your blood pressure down. I actually already emailed Ronnie to get this information out because I think it's important. We can heal so many things. We can heal everything with fruit. It's like it doesn't matter what it is. Your broken bones heals faster, and we all accept that we can heal a broken bone, that our body can heal a cut in other minor things, but we don't even think about how the body can heal everything inside too. And it's like, why wouldn't it? It only makes sense. There's one question I absolutely still want to go to, and it's about a young woman who now is in college, and she had so much acne all over the chin, forehead, side of the nose, and it hurts. It hurts a lot. This is when your kidneys are not filtering, and you keep putting acidic foods in your body. And we all know that, when you're in college, you're not eating the healthy foods. So if you realize that this is what you're doing to yourself and that you have to take control to not having this acne, because it's going to ruin your face forever. I mean, your skin will not be smooth if you keep doing that. And so you really, really have to take action and eat differently. Now, she was told by a doctor to, was it a doctor? Let me see. A board certified environmentalist doctor. A list with no coffee, tea, soda, sweetness, aspartame, etc. Stevia. Oh, no stevia even. Or maple syrup, alcohol, beer, ham, processed meat, deep fried food, superheated vegetable oil, margarine, peanut oil, vinegar, dried fruits, GMO foods, and no non-organic foods. Okay. I agree, other than a few. Maple syrup is fine. Real stevia is fine. But when you see stevia on a box in the stores, it always has other stuff in it. So don't fall for that one. You can actually buy the green raw stevia, which is it's green powder. It's very strong in taste. You only need very little if you want to have something sweet. But heck, if we eat all fruit, who needs stevia? Although I still put a little in my tea. Dried fruits, nothing wrong with dry fruits, but you have to have the organic dry fruits that are not that don't have sulfur on it, because you don't want that. But there is a bigger list than that she should not eat. And I think it is important for her. So her name is Katie. I would definitely send her the list with mucusless foods and go with that. I think it's easier to see what you can eat than what you're not supposed to eat, because that is, that list can be, well, quite long actually. And yeah, you mentioned if you want to set up a time on Zoom or the phone, yeah, you can do that. I have how you can make a session or book a session. It's in the show notes. So, and if glutathione and zinc picolinate will help, no, I don't think so. Not when she keeps eating the same stuff. It's not going to work. It doesn't, no, it's not doing it. See, you can't treat this stuff. You just have to heal the body. That's the main thing. And thinking that you can have a treatment, a pill here and there, and you can keep doing what you're doing, doesn't work that way. It's sometimes I wish we had a magic pill for everything, but unfortunately we do not.
And also, Toni, per Dr. Morse, from what I've heard too, is that our skin is our third kidney.
Yeah, I should have mentioned that. It's like, that's why I mentioned that's the kidneys. The kidneys are not filtering adequately, so it comes out through the skin, all the junk. And you can get it out from your eyes, your nose, your throat, your belly button. It can come out, and then of course through the skin. And one person will get a lot of acne, and the other person, like I did, I got, psoriasis. I had toxicity and acidosis, so it had to come out. So yeah, it was the skin.
Absolutely. Now, if it's our third kidney, does that mean that the two kidneys are already kind of backed up so much that our skin is kind of like our last resort?
Yes, it is. It is. And to see that, and that is often the case. We see this acne at a very young age. And but there's more going on. Absolutely. I mean, it's not just the acne and not just the kidneys working. She can have weak adrenals. She can have already a weak pancreas, and the whole endocrine system can be weakened. So yeah, it's time for action. And with the change in diet, yeah, we can help with herbal formulas. So in all the herbal formulas, they are tissue specific, not disease specific. That's not what the herbs are for.
Right. Great.
My gosh, I'm not even half through all the questions that I got in, so that has to wait till the next one. But I do want to answer Barbara about losing bone in the face. Already list about 85%. Is there anything that can restore gums and bone? Again, it is the diet. It is not the magic pill. It is the change in diet. Your body is very, very acidic. And I will send you an email to get in touch with you, because I actually, when I started with this, one of my first clients had the same problem. And it was pretty scary. And she started to change her diet, and her whole life turned around, because when you eat high fruits, everything changes. You feel differently. It's a different frequency. You feel better. You're more positive. For me, my depression went away. It's like poof, it was gone. It was like a big black cloud that was hanging over me. It just disappeared. It's amazing. And with losing bone, it's like, yeah, your body is highly acidic. So yeah, we need to take action.
And we actually touched on that too when the dental show with Charlie Freak was the brushing also will make your gums recede. And the flossing, that's another thing. We need to be gentle with our gums, and they will come back.
It will, and it takes time.
Mm-hmm.
It's my teeth have not been good since I was a teenager, and yeah, stuff broke off, and I'm just like okay, it will regrow. As long as there are still the roots in there, it will regrow. I just have faith that it will happen.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
and the other thing is all that teeth whitening. It's like, yeah, teeth have to be very bright white, and it's like originally our teeth are not that white. That is not an original color.
No.
So,
The vivid white. Oh man.
so I see Nancy ask, can you talk about how bodies deal with protein? Well, they don't deal very well with protein. It's bad for your kidneys. It's like Dr. Morse says, protein kills. We mentioned that earlier in the show. It is just not working. And not even plant proteins, because I made that mistake. I was like, okay, in the smoothie, then I had this 1 gallon, or is it even 2 gallon jar with pea protein. Well, I still have it somewhere all the way in the back in the in the cupboard. I don't know what to do with it. Throw it out, I guess. Like I did with all the supplements. I was looking at it, and it's like, oh my gosh, all that money down the drain.
Mhm. Do we produce our own protein? Like, does our body make protein?
Well, it is, yeah, that I hear different stories about that. I heard just excess, our body makes the proteins. What our body needs is not the proteins, it is the amino acids. And amino acids are in fruits. If it makes then into the body into proteins, I'm not quite clear about that, because when you eat proteins, then the body has to convert it to amino acids. And that is extra energy, and we know how totally amazing our bodies is. I mean, look at what we've been putting into it. It's the one junk thing to the other. If you're out in a grocery store, it's like, oh my gosh, 99% in the store, it's not even food.
And
It's
we
just
still
not.
make it to 65 and 70 and 80 years old.
Yeah, but how? And
Exactly.
now we see symptoms in children, in young adults, that we 30, 40 years ago, you only saw that with people in their 70s or 80s, when the body says enough is enough.
Mm.
So overall, we got less healthy. My parents were not healthy. I was born with problems. And yeah, so my child, it has issues, but she has been a healthy eater, and she's actually she's doing good. But then, I do have to mention this before we close off. It is like, I hear so many people say, I am eating healthy. Okay, what are you eating? And it always comes to, the apple cider vinegar, the oils, and yeah, the grains. Grains is a big thing. And I heard Dr. Moore saying, like, okay, if you would say what is worse, meat or grains? And so, I wouldn't even compare it one to the other. They are just not good for us. So yeah, get the grains out of your diets, out of
That
your
was
lifestyle.
that was a surprise for me. That was like one of the last things I have learned recently, that and the legumes. I didn't realize that either. So when people were like, I am eating healthy, and I'm like, why? I have beans and so yeah, the protein and the beans and whatnot are new to me, I'd say, in the last few years. I didn't realize that either.
No, it's for me only in the last 2 years, because I was eating beans, and I was still eating cooked food, and I love Mexican food, even,
Mhm.
can get it vegan and still love it.
Yeah.
But that was the beans, and the hummus. The hummus is always a big thing.
Yes.
And it is a bean. It's high protein, and then you have the tahini, which is very favorite to use in all kinds of sauces. And I love tahini. I could just eat it by the spoonfuls,
Mhm.
especially the ones I make myself. And but only if I do that. If I eat some hummus, oh my God, I'm in so much pain the next day.
Yeah.
And it is just, it's not working. It's the high proteins and the high fats. It's like, nope.
Yep, exactly. Well, I just have one more thing I would like to say. It's kind of something I've said for a long time, and I wanted to get your take on it. And it's that it's not what we do every once in a while. It's what we do habitually or every day. So saying that, it's like around this time of year, I'll have, a vegan cookie that I've made because it's Christmas time. In this time of year, I'm trying to, just get that Christmassy feeling or something like that. So like, yeah, that's fine. But are you going to still be eating all those cookies and all that stuff in January, February, and March? Or this one time I go on this vacation and this is where we have this one thing that we all love, but I only have it that one time a year. So like, what is your take on that then?
Well, if you do that the one time, once in a while thing, I always have like, if you want to do that, you better enjoy it and not feel guilty about it, because that makes it worse to your body. And if you think it is bad, that you do something bad, you crave something, you eat it, and you have this, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have done it, this was so bad. Yeah, then it is bad for your body.
Right.
And if it is like, I'm going to enjoy it, I love it, and I do it one time and be happy with it, I think it makes a difference. It may sound strange to people, but I absolutely, makes a difference. And when you feel like it is the cheating, okay, you do your cheat day on a Saturday, that is your you do a cheat meal. I don't like the word cheating, by the way.
Yeah.
It is well,
Indulging, but it's not like, I don't even think you should indulge like on a weekly basis either. And of course, I'm thinking more along the lines of like I was saying, like a treat or something, like a cookie or something like that too. But like if you're going to indulge in an avocado, or every so often you'll use a little bit of oil here on, like, I don't know, a salad every once in a great while, that's different than, every day I'm like, okay, I'm going to have one piece of bread every day or something like that.
It is, and what I always suggest with people I talk to is write down what you eat and write down how you feel, because I used to get a lot of phone calls, and it was like, I feel so bad and I don't know what happened. And what were you eating yesterday? Oh, just the regular stuff. I'll get into details. What did you eat? And it always comes out that it was something they ate and forgot about it.
Yes.
So, be aware of what you are eating, and if need be, and write it down. Write down how you feel. And this is how you are responsible for what is happening in your body. Nobody else is.
Absolutely.
So, keep note of it. Then you completely understand what is going on, and that it is the food that you do, that you put in your mouth. And it's, yeah.
Yes. And the more in tune you become, then the more you're going to know and you're going to feel also.
And it's fun, it can actually be a lot of fun. It's like, don't make it a drag, like, oh my God, now I can't eat this or this anymore. And it's like, well, do you like your pain? Do you like, if you have acne, do you like that? So if you don't, then you have to make changes. Yeah, you may wish there was the infamous magic pill, and there isn't. And oh yeah, there's so many things I want to talk about. Is the pharmaceutical industry. You're taking your pills, taking your the pharmaceuticals, is you do it for life. I mean, I know people that have been on blood pressure medication for 40 years. How much sense does that make? It's not healing anything. So I have to be careful with what I say, because
right. Yeah, I mean, if you're on it for life, then I guess they assume it's just maintaining. I'm not sure, but
yeah, but you're not healing anything. And oh my gosh, with a detox program, in the worst cases, we can completely heal within a year if you stick to the all fruit. It's so many beautiful things can happen. But we are 15 minutes over the hour, and that is we plan on not doing that. So
well,
we're gonna end it. Yeah, we're gonna end it for today, and we will be back next week.
What a wonderful show, and thank you so much, Toni.
Well, thank you. Without you, this would not have been possible.
Very glad we could help.
So I'm very happy with that. And I'm very happy with everybody who showed up today, and keep your questions coming. I will answer them in email when time permits. I will connect with some people that sent in questions. And
And
yeah,
will we have another show then next week like this too? Or
of
we'll
course.
continue? Perfect.
Of course, yes. We
Okay.
already put that on the image, a weekly show at noon on Thursdays.
Great. Eastern Standard Time. And thank you everyone for watching and sending in the questions. We love you all.
Love you. Yeah, love everybody. That's what makes I was going to say that's what makes the world go around. We can't say that, right? But love is healing. Let's keep it that way. Love is healing. So thanks everyone. Till the next time. Bye-bye.